Why did you get fired? That is about as difficult as an interview question gets. If you're in the interview process and you have to explain why you were let go, why you were fired, why there's a gap in your resume, it doesn't get too much more complicated than that. That being said, like with everything, the right strategy can make all the difference. In today's video, I am going to teach you how to beat this interview question and move on to the next round. Let's go. Hi, I'm Ben White with Ben Talks Talent. I have 11 years experience in talent acquisition, recruiting, and interviewing, and I am passionate about helping you find your next job. If you are new to the channel, do me a favor, take 3 seconds and go subscribe and then hit that notification bell so you never miss one of my videos. And if you're seeing this on LinkedIn, do me a favor, finish watching the video, like, comment, but then when you're done, go over to YouTube and subscribe. I actually release more videos there than I do on LinkedIn. So if you like my stuff, you'll find more of it over there. If you are not new, welcome back. So today I want to talk about this interview question. Why were you fired? It is a tough interview question. It is not easy to answer. And if you have been laid off, if you were fired, if there's a gap in your resume, you are going to get this question. If I'm interviewing for someone on my team and I see there is a gap, you have to inquire. It's part of a recruiter's job. If you submit a candidate to a hiring manager and you can't answer why they're unemployed, you are not doing your job. They are going to ask you about it. So I want to talk about the why. Like so many interview questions, asking this interview question is at its core about risk mitigation. People are concerned that if you got fired, it was for cause, right? What did this person do that caused their last company to part with them? Was it something they did from a cultural standpoint? Were they not performing? There are a variety of reasons why someone can get let go from a role. And as a hiring manager, as someone on a hiring team, you want to know that. You can't just go in blind, so they're going to ask. So that's the why. Now, there are 2 very different scenarios. One, there was someone who has been fired. They were fired for cause, performance, maybe it was a team thing, maybe it was cultural. For whatever reason, they have been let go. And then there is another situation, and that's if you're laid off. Let's tackle that first because that one's easy. If you've been laid off, say you've been laid off. There is nothing wrong with saying that. There are plenty of good reasons why somebody who was a solid contributing member of a team has been let go. Maybe there was reorganization. Maybe there was downsizing. Maybe your company purchased another company and there was redundance. There are many good reasons. So if you were laid off, I would say that. I would say that plainly. Bonus points here if you can add a little bit of positivity in it. Be like, you know what? There was a reorganization. I was one of 5 people in my position that was let go. Honestly, that was unfortunate. I really enjoyed my time at that company. I learned a lot, and that was a great role. One of the things I just did there was I talked about the other people, right? So if you were let go, some hiring managers will look at that and go, oh, well, they only let go the bottom performers. That is not true. Sometimes there are groups of people, some of them strong performers, who were let go. So if you were let go and there was, the 50% of your department was also cut, make mention of that here. Don't leave them wondering whether or not there was more people or you were an isolated incident and you were one person who was let go. So be honest, say that you were laid off, tell them the circumstances. There was a restructuring. Talk about how more than just you were impacted. So there were several members of your team who were let go at the same wave. And then finally, add some positivity about how overall the company was a really positive experience and you learned a lot. The next thing I want to talk about is if you were fired, right? This one is far more difficult than layoffs because the story is harder to tell. The first thing I want to do is I want to talk about honesty. At the end of the day, you're going to need to be honest here, and I'll talk a little bit more about why. But one of the things that I have seen many times as a recruiter is people falling into the mutual separation trap, right? So I asked them, whose decision was it to separate employment? And they go, it was mutual. So just to be clear here, mutual dissatisfaction is different from mutual separation. You could have worked for a company and been very unhappy, and they were also unhappy with you. And then when they decided we're gonna move on from you, in some ways you might have been grateful to get out of that role. Okay, sure. But that is very different than mutual separation. People have said this to me many times as a recruiter, and I never believe they sat down at a table, looked at each other and go, "You're fired. I quit," at the exact same time. That doesn't happen. So if you say that, not only will we not believe you, but we'll also think you're lying. So never say it was mutual, because the truth is, it was never mutual. There might be some agreements on the fact that it was time to move forward, but the actual decision to terminate or leave is never mutual. One person or one party always initiates it, so don't do that. So let's talk about honesty here. I think it's really important to be clear and honest and say, you know what? I was let go. Let's say it was a sales role. I was let go in the second half of 2020. I was below my sales numbers. I was below my quota, and at the end of the year, they decided to move on from me. Okay, that's honest. Why do you do that? Well, one, you don't want to lie in your process. The reality is, it is a small world, and in your little market, it is very possible that somebody who works for the organization you are interviewing with knows somebody who worked at your old organization. And it's as easy as someone there calling over and say, hey, why did Ben end up leaving? And if you lied and then they tell you that, you're out of the process. That's it. There's no, well, he lied, but he seems like a nice guy. If you lie during the interview process, it is over. So it's always better to err on the side of telling the truth, because you don't want that to come out. So be honest, explain the situation thoroughly, and then the last thing that you need to do here is talk about how the experience has made you a better fit for your next role, right? You learned something. After being let go, you decided to go take some additional courses or take an introspective look at what you brought to the table and come back with a renewed vigor and effort. Whatever it is that you want to say that fits your story, I think it's important to say it here. There is no escaping this question. If you were let go and you were interviewing, you are going to get asked it. But the way you approach it is going to make all the difference. Don't say it was mutual, be honest, explain the situation, and talk about what you learned and how you were better for it. And that is the best way to answer this interview question. So there it is. Again, one last time, if you are new here, do me a favor, please subscribe. I do about 3 of these videos a week, so you'll see them there. And if you hit the notification bell, you'll never miss one. I hope this was helpful. Thank you for taking the time to sit with me today. Good luck in your next interview. You've got this.